In a last-ditch effort to help Donald Trump avoid trial, his makeshift legal team on Capitol Hill, a.k.a. House Republicans, are quite literally attempting to, and I kid you not, defund the police. But not for everyone, of course. No. Just for the twice impeached, 4 times indicted, liable for sexual abuse former president. NBC News is reporting today that with the deadline for the government spending bill quickly approaching, Trump's MAGA cronies in Congress are not focusing their energy on politics that, would actually help the constituents whose tax dollars pay their salaries. Nope. Instead, they're using government funding as an opportunity to hinder the federal and state prosecutors who have indicted Trump. Congressman Andrew Clyde of Georgia, for example, says he will introduce 2 amendments to eliminate federal funding for special counsel Jack Smith, as well as the Fulton County and Manhattan district attorneys, Fani Willis and Alvin Bragg. Meanwhile, Congressman Matt Gaetz is pushing for legislation that would flat out cut off funding for Smith's office, an effort that is supported by de facto House Speaker Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then you have Congressman Jim Jordan, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, who just last week opened an investigation into Fani Willis. He's also calling for provisions in the spending bill that would change how the Justice Department can use money. That includes barring the DOJ from conducting a politically sensitive investigation, which includes political candidates and family, until the Department of Justice establishes a policy requiring nonpartisan career staff to oversee such investigations. No mention of whether or not that standard would apply to his party's investigation into another presidential candidate named Joe Biden. Joining me now is Kurt Bardella, Democratic strategist and former spokesperson for the House Oversight Committee. Oh, Kurt.
Here we are again.
They want to defund the police?
How about that?
What's up with that? I thought they were against defunding the police.
Well, listen, you have to understand that when a Republican is in the line of fire,
right,
then law enforcement needs to back off. Like, you're going after the wrong people here.
Right.
When a Democrat is under scrutiny investigation, well, that's okay. They want that. I mean, it is the complete overt partisanship of justice that the legislative branch is now trying to dictate to the judicial branch how they should conduct their investigations, who they should target, and if they don't do it that way, they're going to defund them. That kind of sounds like extortion.
It kind of sounds like extortion. But let's talk about why they're doing it. So obviously Donald Trump is on the road to becoming the nominee. He's overwhelmingly beating the pants off of all of his other, opponents. So their assumption is he's going to be the nominee.
Yeah.
If he's president, is the point of this to get pardons? Because some of these people that I've named were kind of involved in the insurrection.
I mean, I seem to remember during the January 6th Select Committee's work, the committee issuing subpoenas to members of Congress like Judiciary Committee Jim Jordan, like Paul Gosar trying to get a cell phone. Because remember, there were reports that members of Congress helped some of these insurrectionists case the joint.
Right.
Like, there is a lot of information that we still don't know, because these members of Congress, these people who love their subpoenas and investigations and depositions, that they never cooperated. So it makes sense that they are going to do everything they can to protect Donald Trump, because if Trump goes down, maybe they could go down.
So Kevin McCarthy is saying he's getting all his ducks in a row for impeachment. It's ridiculous. They're going to impeach Biden for being old. I mean, I really don't know what.
For existing
And being named Biden. But it seems like he has to do these things. He has to let them go through these exercises of, we're going to defund, Jack Smith's office, and we're going to pretend like we can defund state prosecutors. He has to let them go through the exercise in order to stay in power, right? Is that the way to read him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, after the marathon round that was Kevin McCarthy limping into the speaker's office.
15 votes.
And like you called it, I think, de facto speaker, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
It's like, these are the people who are actually running the show. McCarthy's just there as a figurehead. He's someone who wields no power, no influence. He is being held hostage by the crazy MAGA right extremists that are now part of the insurrectionist LLC, that is the Judiciary Committee, that masquerades around and tries to use the guise of congressional power to justify their political witch hunts. And McCarthy's just going to sit there and rubber stamp it, because if the minute that he doesnn't do what they want and this stuff, they'll throw him out.
So you used to be a staffer on oversight back when you were with the other party, and I wonder if there is any real politic at all none of this would pass the Senate. You can do whatever you want. You're just going to muck up the bill, the overall spending bill that's got to go between the House and the Senate, has to emerge from the House. But none of this is actually going to become law. They're not going to defund Jack Smith. They cannot force Fani Willis or Alvin Bragg to concede to them or turn over their investigations to them. So I don't know if you talk to still any Republicans or if there are any normies left in there. Does anyone understand that this is a waste of time and that they're setting up MAGA voters for further disappointment when Joe Biden is not carted off to Guantanamo
Listen, if you
Bay.
talk to any staffer that works at any of these committees, and a lot of them who work there now worked with me back in the day at the Oversight Committee, whenever now and again we actually did real oversight, believe it or not, no one thinks that this is actually going to end in an actual victory for them. No one thinks that the American people are going to just wake up and rally around their cause thinking, you know what, despite the fact that we always talk about things like healthcare, women's rights, the economy, jobs, trying to make the world a better place, not getting killed at schools with guns, we're going to somehow think that impeaching Joe Biden with no evidence and no evidence of any wrongdoing is a good idea.
Then why do it?
Because they don't have an answer for all the other stuff. We watched an election after election now. These guys just get waxed at the ballot just on the issue of women's rights alone.
Yeah.
And they don't have a good vocabulary. Their answer so far is, you know what, we should go for a 15-week abortion.
National abortion.
Like, they keep going more extreme. So they know that those policies are alienating them from every voter they're going to need to win an election. So the only thing left that they can think to do is the smoke and mirror show of the specter of these oversight hearings, the specter of an impeachment proceeding, to just try to distract everybody away from their policies, which are completely out of step with the majority of this country.
And the problem with that, though, is that when the voters that are MAGA believe this is real. Right? They believe Donald Trump is their friend. They believe that he would reach through the TV and help them if he could, and he can't. He doesn't care. When they don't get what they are being promised, they've already shown how violent they can get. And that's, I think, what people in the national security world are worried about. When they get real disappointed, when none of this comes to fruition, we don't know what
we see every day on social media these MAGA people mouthing off and threatening to bear arms, threatening to foment civil war. And we know that after January 6th, it's not just talk. It's real.
Indeed. Kurt Bardella, thank you very much, my friend. Much appreciated. Up next.